Have you ever noticed how you can solve a complex programming problem in 20 minutes on a Tuesday morning, but that exact same problem at 9 p.m. feels entirely impossible? It's a strange experience, especially when you consider that absolutely nothing outside of you shifted. The code didn't change, the textbook didn't change. The difficulty of the question is exactly the same. Only one variable actually fluctuated between that morning breeze and that evening wall: your brain. Specifically, your available cognitive capacity. When people hit that wall after a long day of work, they open their laptops, lose focus 10 minutes later, and feel a sense of guilt. Many assume they lack discipline, but the reality is simpler. Their underlying cognitive fuel has just run dry. This guilt stems from a common misunderstanding of how we work. We often treat the mind as a simple on-off switch. Either you're working or you're not. Traditional productivity systems rely on this flat timeline, assuming every 60-minute block yields the same result. But our actual capacity looks much more like this fluctuating line, peaking and dipping throughout the day. Because time stays constant while your cognitive capacity does not, looking at a clock is a poor way to judge what you're capable of achieving in the moment. A more accurate model is to treat your brain's reserves like a battery with varying charge levels. Think about how you use a smartphone when the battery drops to 5. Think of these levels as a practical framework for decision-making, rather than a precise biological lab report. Level 5 is your maximum cognitive capacity. This is for your deepest thinking, learning engineering concepts, designing complex AI systems, or building new mental models. It drains the battery fast, but it creates the highest value. Level 4 is for high-focus application. You're coding, practicing a skill, or working through exercises. You are applying ideas you already understand, which is demanding but less mentally expensive than creating new understanding. Level 3 involves moderate demand. This is the zone for reinforcement, watching technical lectures, following tutorials, or taking organized notes on familiar topics. Level 2 requires much lower demand. Use this for necessary maintenance, like editing videos, organizing files, or writing descriptions. It moves projects forward without requiring heavy analytical lifting. Level 1 is for recovery. This includes light reading or listening to podcasts. Engaging in these low-stakes activities protects your ability to reach Level 5 again tomorrow. This framework highlights a frequent error in daily scheduling. We often waste our best hours on low-value chores, or conversely, try to force high-value work onto a depleted brain. If you try to design a complex software architecture while your brain is operating at a Level 2 state, you will inevitably feel frustrated. That struggle isn't a sign of personal failure. It just means you've assigned a high-tier task to a low-tier version of yourself. To apply this, change your primary planning question. Instead of asking, "What should I do today?" ask, "What can this version of my brain do well right now?" This requires letting go of the unrealistic expectation that your mind will perform identically from morning until night. A low-energy afternoon is simply a biological cue to pivot to a different category of work. When you accept this, your energy becomes a tool for planning rather than a source of frustration. The formula for consistent progress is simple. Match the complexity of the task to the current state of your battery. The objective is to use whatever energy you have as wisely as possible. But this raises a difficult question. When you're in the middle of a session and it starts to feel hard, how do you know if your energy is actually fading or if the subject is just naturally difficult? To find the answer, we have to look at cognitive checkpoints, the subject of our next episode.